Broke the game a little bit, but he's not too good where you can't play anything else. So, I mean, there's a lot of variety. He's playable, but, you know, we're doing our thing and we're going to win.
Got it, got it. I hope we see him tonight, but if we don't, then we're okay. And, like I mentioned earlier, we just received a word from behind the desk that if you lose this game, you will be retiring from your Overwatch career. Is this true, and can you tell me a little bit about this decision?
Yeah, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
All right. We're gonna be right back, and we're gonna see you guys in the studio. See you later.
I think by the end of the season, like now, we play together. Everyone kind of jokes around a little bit more and kind of shines their natural ray. We're excited just to see them play better as well.
With the middle school program, the best part has been seeing the moments of teamwork where the middle schoolers really seem to get the game, and so that's when you can see they're starting to get a little bit hooked on how esports can be so fun.
Off game, or will red turn things around?
Terp adventures take flight at Stamp. Host to countless Maryland events, programs, performances, and more. Feed your body, feed your mind, feed your soul. Let your talents soar. Dance, sing, perform. Find your thing. Join more than 800 student organizations and clubs. Find community here. Leadership lives here. Art thrives here. With space to grow. We're all just kids at heart. Let your imagination fly. Compete. Play. With wings on our feet. Here your spirit can fly. Here your soul lifts up. Here you remember those who came before. This is STAM. This is the center for campus life, where Terp adventures take flight. You belong here. Come fly with us.
Welcome back, everyone. We are now in the booth, and I am so excited to be here after not casting in so long, but we have a little bit to talk about before we get into this game here, and namely, you know what, just kidding, we're gonna hop right into the game, but maybe we'll see the character that I want to talk about, which is Hazard. But anyway, we're gonna be starting out on Lijiang Tower on this King of the Hill game mode. Terps on the blue side, Ohio State on the red side. Ooh, I wonder what comps we're going to see. I'm excited.
I'm really excited. We see a lot of high mobility comps on Lijiang Tower because of its odd makeup. I'm expecting to probably maybe see a Lucio. Oh, here we have a Lucio.
Oh, a Lucio. Okay.
Two Lucios.
Two Lucios.
And also Moose on that Lifeweaver, his self-proclaimed god character. I forget his exact wording.
His self-proclaimed... He's a self-proclaimed master of Lifeweaver. Now, is that true? I guess we will see in this game, but... one thing I do know is that the meta is very focused around a Symmetra and Torbjorn comp, which is interesting because we've never really seen those two characters be meta together. But as we can see, both teams here rolling out on the Symmetra. However, it might just be to teleport out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if the Symmetra sticks around. Oh, for Ohio State, we have the Symmetra switching into a Genji. We have a Genji Sojourn comp. I'm interested to see the damage output coming from Ohio State here.
Yeah, I'm very interested. And I mean, UMD getting those late swaps, just sort of losing control of the point here as Ohio State with the Hazard is just able to walk up to the choke. And now Tony is going to try to make as much space as he possibly can. The Hazard, King Donut is going to jump in and take out Moose on the Juno. So that is the main heals from Ohio State gone. And maybe you think that UMD got a little bit cocky with all those swaps there. And first control is going to go over to Ohio State.
We see Moose switching to Juno off of that Life Weaver. I'm wondering if he's again looking for that high mobility, hoping to get over those hazard walls. I'm curious to see how this comp continues to adjust against Ohio State, which has stayed relatively consistent since the get-go.
Right, and here comes the engage from Terps Esports, speeding in with the Ramatra form, taking control of this point. But Ohio State, it's now their turn to answer. Hazard jumps in, and Monk on the Genji takes down Jaquizis to Symmetra, but C3 answers back with a pick onto the Hazard, and the point flips over in UMD's favor.
We're trying to see Maryland pick off the rest of Ohio State, keeping that control, not allowing Ohio to push back into point, and they're successfully able to push them back into their spawn.
Yeah, good fight coming out from Terps Esports here. I mean, I noticed that Ohio State was looking a little bit hesitant there. They lost their Hazard, and they just couldn't push back in, whereas Terps had Tony on that Ramatra to take the damage. And now, as we go into this next team fight, we're going to see 2 tank ultimates online for both of these squads.
And a Kitsune coming in from Ohio State. I'm wondering if that's why we didn't see many swaps from Ohio State after that loss. Oh, here we have the Kitsune coming out. Good positioning from Ohio State, covering most of the point. And then we have Tony coming in with the Annihilation as well as the Hazard.
Oh, Tony dropping dangerously low and is going to fall, and Moose follows very quickly after. Jaquizis will answer back on Monk's Genji, but I do believe this fight is over, and control goes back over to Ohio State. That was such a massive Kiriko rush, and Terps just didn't have an answer.
Though, interestingly, Terps have 3 ults, well, almost 4 coming up. I bet they're going to be able to take that point back immediately.
I sure hope so. Ohio State did, in fact, use the Lucio sound barrier to counter Tony's Annihilation on that Ramatra. So good force of ultimates there. And now the momentum has swung back in the Terps favor as they TP over this gap on Lijiang. Out comes the Orbital Strike from the Juno, and down goes Aran on that Sojourn. First pick in this fight. Hazard dropping dangerously low on the point and goes down. And now the Terps just clean up and easily take back control of the point.
Very wisely conserving almost all of their ults, only using that Juno ultimate. So they almost have that point secured for the next couple of team fights, I'd say.
That was such a good 2-phase attack from the Terps. Phase 1, teleport onto the side of the point successfully. Then phase 2, oh, but you know what? C3 is just going to cut me off because he's going to get caught by the Hazard. And unfortunately, he goes down, making this fight a 4v5. But the Terps, they have the ultimates to answer back. And Tony takes down Lau on that Lucio, takes down Aram on that Sojourn. And even though C3 feeds into this fight, I do believe the Terps are going to have the strength to hold down the fort. And they only use Jaquizis' Symmetra Photon Barrier.
We really have to put a lot on Tony for maintaining that point hold. We constantly see Tony in these games making space for his team and really supporting them in ways that only a tank can. And I think it's really impressive, and we really always have to laud Tony for his game awareness.
I 100% agree with you, and now it's desperation for Ohio State. Lau and Lucio is going to get the touch in, but that's all she wrote for him. He's going to go down.
We have another Kitsune coming out.
Beat from Reformed is going to hit every single member of this Terps Esports squad, keeping them alive through the blade, through the downpour, and that is going to be the first point going over to Terps Esports. What a dominant performance we're seeing here.
That was beautifully, beautifully played. I'm really proud of the Terps here. That ultimate management was really impressive. A lot of times you see them just come out and do that ult, like everyone pressing Q, just kind of wasting it.
Right.
But they were very tactical with his usage. And I think that sustain is what kept them into the end.
The thing I love about this Terps Esports squad is that they are never ones to back down. I mean, you saw so many times in those fights, they were 4v5s because the Terps lost a member early. But it doesn't matter. They're just able to calm and collect themselves, and I think part of it comes from Tony being on this shot-calling tank role. Here we see him again on this Ramatra, walking forward, making space for his team. He does not care that he's down a member. He's just going to go in, and it's been working out so well for this Terps squad.
One improvement I am hoping to see from the Terps this round is maybe the DPS trying to stay alive a little bit longer. They are typically those that are getting picked off, and despite the winning right now, I think them persisting a bit longer would be really good for the team overall.
I agree. King Donut on this Hazard is doing a really good job blocking off the DPS when they're playing from these off angles, and I think that's what Hazard excels at, as well as playing this like weird dive brawl hybrid, and that's an interesting bug on the Ramatra.
We are seeing Ramatra doing a bit of a T-pose as King Donut continuously dives to Juno, maybe able to take out Moose.
Oh wow, but King Donut overextends a little bit without the help of his team, and C3 gets to pebble him in the back, and down goes the Ohio State squad. And honestly, really good peel coming out from Reformed there for Moose on that Juno. Just allowing Moose to sort of bait the enemy tank into a fight. And we are going to see that swap from Ohio State to go over to this Maga.
Ooh, that might be a bit of a threat to Ramontra here, because Ramontra can kind of, can't eat forever, you know?
Ooh, and Reformed is going to go down here on the outskirts of this fight, but the rest of the Terps, are they going to be able to sustain this fight without the speed boost and the possible sound barrier? Where it's unsure as King Donut goes in for the stun.
Tony is going to fall, unfortunately, to the Maga, so is C3 and Jakeezus.
Yep, and it's just a simple reset for the Terps. About 32% on this capture point, back over to Ohio State, and we are going to see this Kiriko rush coming out on the side of Ohio State. It's also important to note, I didn't even notice that they switched to Juno on Ohio State as well.
I did, yeah. I wonder when that Lucio got out of play. I think Juno is a good swap. Her heal output is more reliable than Lucio.
I 100% agree, but it doesn't matter to the Terps. We're just going to stomp onto this point from the left side. Out comes the Photon Barrier, stopping all of the damage, and the Kiriko Rush plus the Maga charge is going to go in on Tony, trying desperately shield dancing to stay alive. He's dropping dangerously low, and there's so much damage. The form comes out at the last second, keeping him alive in this fight. And now that Ohio State has lost their tank, they lose all of their momentum.
Incredible cooldown management from Tony, and again, we do have to praise Moose and Reform for keeping Tony alive under, like, wow, he was one hit away, and then that came out, and oh wow.
Yeah, and I mean, another part of that fight was Jakeezus' ultimate on that Symmetra was just so good. It blocked so much damage from Ohio State.
And the team reliably didn't overextend past it.
Yeah, they played the wall like perfection. And now, as we see the Maga going in with this Juno Orbital Strike, it's going to be an ult fiesta as the ult comes out from Reformed. The Overclock comes out from C3. He's looking for the Kiriko. The Kiriko does not go down, but the rest of the team is going to go down instead. 4 ultimates used on the side of the Terps, but a 1 team fight. At what cost?
I do have a feeling that in this next team fight, we are going to see Ohio State take the point. But I don't know how much it will matter, as the Terps are coming up on 80% to the Ohio's 40. That, I don't know if they can come back from that with only 2 ults at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think swapping off the Lucio here is what you want. You want to play speedy with this Maga, and with a Juno, you can't do that without the Kiriko Rush. But whatever the case may be, out comes the cage fight. All 5 members of UMD are going to hop into the cage fight with the assistance of this Photon Barrier. King Donut charging in, gets Reformed. The Symmetra dropping dangerously low, and Tony is going to fall in the midst of this fight as well. The Kiriko Rush sealing UMD's fate, and it's back to the drawing board.
Beautiful ult from Jakeezus, though. That Photon Barrier allowed them to hold the point all the way up to 99%. So even though they have lost this team fight, they can easily come back and get that 1 tick back and take the team. And we also see King Donut falling.
A bit of an overextension here from King Donut, and now his supports are sent scrambling. As Jakeezus just said, you know what? This is my point now. I will be taking it back. And as the overtime wick burns down, the Sojourn, desperate for a touch, not going to find it. And the first map on Lijiang Tower is going to go over to the Terps 1-0 in this series.
Jakeezus really was the MVP of that last match. Those Photon Barriers consistently put exactly when the Terps needed, just to persist enough to get those points and take the final capture.
Yeah, just honestly, I love the ultimate play coming out from UMD. So many of these fights were won by a simple Photon Barrier from Jakeezus, as well as just a single beat from Reformed, or even a single orbital strike from Moose. This ultimate economy that they're playing right now is just absolutely flawless.
It's really impressive, and I have a lot of pride for the team right now. And I really hope it persists. I'm expecting to see a team swap from Ohio, likely. I don't know if they're going to bring Lucio back, try to get that high mobility up. I'm curious to see how they change to adjust to this almost devastating loss.
I think when you're in the position that Ohio State is in, when your tank is just continuously dying, I believe that you think that maybe more healing can help you. But I think at the end of the day, the tank's positioning is just as important as healing output. If your tank is in their backline, which we saw Hazard being very often, he's going to get melted. He's the only target for the other team to look at. So I don't think swapping onto the Juno is the best pick. I think playing Lucio there, as well as providing that defensive ultimate, is going to be the best thing for them to do.
I'm wondering if we're also going to see the Kiriko swap out, because even though her rushes were vital in a lot of these team fights, I don't know if they have really the necessary for for Ohio State to really take out the backline that they need to in Maryland. They're staying very, very tight, very together, and Tony is just constantly on them when they try and get the back of the team, and I don't know if they can do enough damage to really fight Tony when he's guarding like that.
And even then, you have C3 just peppering them from the side with the Sojourn, just doing so much damage, just having, honestly, a free sightline to everyone that's on Ohio State's side. So really, what do? Do you speed on the Sojourn who can just slide away, or do you speed on the backline that's being protected by the Ramatra? The ball is in your court, Ohio State.
Maybe a shield character would come and play. Maybe we see a mirror Ramatra that might assist
to
help with those sight lines.
It very well could be.
There's a lot of possible plays they could do that could help them. I think ultimately they do need to shake it up.
I agree. But as Moose said in the pregame interview, the meta is all over the place nowadays. Overwatch, you know, it's a wasteland nowadays. It's honestly, anything can work. I mean, we've seen Symmetra. Symmetra has rarely ever seen play outside of those early portals outside of spawn. So the fact that we're seeing Symmetra just goes to show that, like, if you're a one trick, you can make anything work.
I think that's really beautiful. We are a lot of times in Overwatch we see it's just like the exact team perfectly mirrored. We have that Tracer, we have that Cassidy, just kind of staticness, and I like the mix up. I think it's more fun to watch, and it calls the players to be a lot more creative with their team comps.
And I mean, speaking of creativity, we saw the Hazard coming out from Ohio State. And that's not to say that it did bad. It won the first fight straight up. But I just don't think that Hazard provides the same utility that Ramatra does. I mean, even the Annihilation is just so good at forcing the other team off of your team. You just click a button and everyone like scrambles because there's particles everywhere on their screen. Downpour, you just can't move.
I think if we saw Tony maybe overextending a bit more, Hazard would be more advantageous. But I think Tony really does just play a bit too close to home for Hazard to get those picks that he needs to be really useful.
Exactly, and that's exactly how Tony has to play, and it's a great adaptation from him. But now we're going over to New Junk City.
I love this map.
I don't like this map.
You're a hater. I think it's beautiful and lore.
I don't like this map because I consistently lose on this map.
Is that a Sigma?
Is that a Sigma?
What the Sigma?
And I also see a Torbjorn on the side of Ohio State. Like I mentioned, this Symmetra Torbjorn DPS lineup, I'm excited to see how this is going to work because I know that it's being used in pro play, but I don't know how it works. I'm curious.
I'm wondering if with these capture the point style, if the whole goal is to get to the point first and set up those turrets in really perfect spots. And if maybe just that kind of camp settlement is the goal here. Again, I'm also really curious. I'm unfamiliar with it.
Yeah, but we're actually not going to see that Symmetra on the side of Ohio State. It's actually just going to be that Sojourn.
Shame.
Just sticking to what they know. And now, as these teams stomp forward, out comes the Juno Ring and the Maga Charge. Charging in and almost charging out back to spawn. But the Ohio State team will smartly drop to this point. But now C3 and the rest of the Terps just have free reign to poke and prod around this point. And C3 might go down, but so too will this Maga. Whoa, that's a speedy Maga right there.
That was impressive.
Oh, and we see the Terps floundering just a little bit, losing the control that they just had. Moose going to fall to Lau on the Juno, but perhaps him getting a little bit brave himself. And Tony trying to stay alive on this point. The cleanse comes out from Ohio State. But Jaquez is able to take down this Maga. This is so back and forth. It's up to C3, who is back from spawn, to clean up the stragglers. And I do believe the Terps are going to eke out a victory on this first fight here in New Junk City.
What was really impressive here was they never allowed Ohio State to fully stay on the point. They would let them get a little bit of percentage, but then immediately touch and get that cap to prevent any kind of actual momentum from Ohio State. So I think it's really impressive how they manage their lives like that. A beautiful plays.
Yeah, just tapping the point to keep the pressure on Ohio State. And that's just the first fight over. And I mean, now look, the Terps have two, 3 ultimate at their disposal, while Ohio State is only coming up on 1. And now as they walk in, oh, C3, that's so dirty. The
what
shot.
A good pick, though. Oh, though Tony has fallen.
Oh, but here comes the amplification matrix from Moose. And now they're just looking to pepper down the members that they have sort of squirreled in this corner. And 2 members of Ohio State fall. And, you know, Tony may have gone down, but, oh, King Jonah has something to say about that. He's a little angry. He's going to take down C3 and Moose at the tail end of that fight. But I do believe we're going to see the messiness go over to the favor of UMD.
We're seeing some keyboard spam from C3 in the chat. I think what the real problem was there is that King Donut didn't move this fight back onto the point. He was playing around it. So they Ohio didn't get that touch that they needed to keep Maryland from tapping the point right now.
Speaking of the touch they needed, they are not going to find it for this point. And now that's just over to the second flashpoint on New Junk City. 1-0 in the favor of the Terps. Oh, I'm sorry to say it, I'm not seeing the appeal of the Torb. There's not really anything that's diving the Terps. I feel like his turret's just getting destroyed by the long range of this Sigma, Sojourn, and Baptiste backline. And now, as C3 pops the overclock, down goes Monk on that Torb. And I think that's just, we're just going to see another reset coming out from Ohio.
We are seeing 3 ults on both teams, though, so I'm curious to see how these are going to be utilized, if Tony is going to use the Flux to keep them from touching, to prevent them breaking this choke point, or if the Kitsune is going to be used to break through that choke point. There's a lot of possible plays that could be made here with these 3 ultimates.
However, the issue here is that Juno ult is not exactly what you call a defensive ult. It's more of an engage ult, and Lau is just going to pop it now, and they're just going to run in to this Sigma. The Gravitic Flux comes out, everybody goes up and everybody goes down, and down goes Lau, down goes the Junkrat. What a huge ult from Sigma.
That was not good for Ohio State.
Oh boy. And it's just all giggles in the
studio.
studio.
A lot of joy from Maryland.
I mean, when you get a huge ult like that, yeah, we just gotta see the replay here. I mean, it was just absolutely massive. Just sort of watching C3 clean up the fight from a Junkrat trap. Oh, beautiful plays coming up from the Terps, and again, they only had to use 1 or 2 ults to counter that.
Yeah, unfortunately from Ohio on this next touch, they do have a beach to counteract the Kitsune and the inevitable cage.
Oh, wow. Dijin just popping that Kitsune rush and going down soon after, and there is no heals left on the side of Ohio State, but there's also no heals on the side of UMD, but Jaquez is holding down this point with the Symmetra. And that is the second flashpoint going over to the Terps with relative ease.
Jaquez is absolutely melting their Maga. I honestly don't know how they will fight this, because she can just get that charge off of shields, off of Maga's ginormous frame, and they're not really combating it how they need to. Jaquez will just portal out as soon as they put any pressure on him, and now we're seeing the Terps get to the third flashpoint first. I don't know how Ohio State's going to come back from here, even though they still have Cage Fight. They did not use Cage Fight that last fight. They're holding on to it, and they're coming up with the Sojourn ult. Oh, they're grouping up here.
Yep, here they come on this left side. And you know what? Cage Fight plus the overclock, it's going to be like shooting fish in a barrel. So hopefully we're going to see a combo coming out from Ohio State, and out goes the Cage Fight. Here comes the overclock. Yup, it's going to get popped. But is there nobody in that Cage Fight? There is nobody in that Cage Fight.
No.
However, it doesn't matter, because C3 is going to answer back with an overclock of his own. It's a battle of the aimers, and C3 is going to win. However, the rest of his team is in shambles around him, and down he goes. And this is the first time in this match Ohio State has any sort of stabilization in this map.
I can say I'm proud of them. Even though they have we do see a Junkrat now, we did see some DPS switching. I'm glad that they got to touch, though we are coming up on the Terps having another Jaquez ult, and we have seen Jaquez's ult before. They're powerful and impactful. The team knows how to play around them.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, this Junkrat is really not the worst thing you can pick here. There's only so many different ways you can take to get onto this point. And here comes the Riptire, striking fear into the hearts of UMD. I'm going to have to take it out before it goes huge. Oh, just barely missing the knockout on Tony. Out comes the Photon Barrier from Jaquez once again, countered by Lau's Kitsune Rush. It's a big ultimate fight, and King Donut goes in and takes out Moose. C3E falls shortly after, and I think even though the Terps are going to have this Gravitic Flux taking out possibly 2 members, and with the point flipping over, I do believe it's just going to have to be a reset coming out from them. But, oh, no, wait, Reformed and Tony might be making me eat my words here. It's a 3v2 on the point. Tony will fall. And unfortunately, I think, although the Terps can stall as much as they want, it's just going to have to be a reset here.
I think a lot of the issue for the Terps here is just the construction of the point itself. A big part of their strategy has been dancing around these shields. We're seeing a lot happening. But with how open this point is, you can kind of just get cornered in from all sides. You can't really dance around that one shield.
And that is exactly what happened there. on the side of the Terps. They just got cornered by the Maga just rushing in with the Kitsune Rush. And although they do find Lao at the tail end of this fight, going into this third flashpoint, if they can take advantage of it, it will be a huge momentum swing for the Terps as they come back with their support ults.
I do always love to see a little spray during the game, though. So
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
So we'll be on the spray. Out comes this Kitsune Rush on the side of Ohio State in the Juno. And oh, Moose! Oh, kill him! Oh, that's not what I meant by kill him. But Moose finding 2 in that fight, and that's going to spell victory for this Terp side, just cleaning up the rest of the fight here. And now the Terps will take control of this 4th flashpoint here. 2-1 in favor of the Terps. Ohio gotta figure something out.
They are coming into this point with King Donut's cage fight and with Juno's ultimate, so there is potential potential here.
Potential.
Don't believe my lips.
Potential.
But we also have Reform's beat, so that can pretty effectively counter cage fight for.
Oh, but I don't think a beat is going to counter an already dead body. But out comes the rush from Ohio State's Maga, and out comes the orbital strike. The beat will come out to counter it, but Tony's just taking so much damage, and he is going to go down from the combined efforts of King Donut and Monk on that Junkrat. And wow, Ohio State taking a relatively clean fight here.
I think the Maga's finally come into his step. He's really. The Sigma just is not able to help the backline in this kind of map layout as Ramatra was earlier on Lijiang Tower. So Maga can kind of just run in, immediately take out Moose and Reform, and leave Tony to just kind of die by himself.
Yeah, die by himself, and now we see 4 ultimates on the side of Ohio State coming out. Cage fight will come out, but it's going to go down almost immediately because of Jaquizis charging forward with the Symmetra. He does not care. It's the death. It's the beam of death.
The Junkrat Tire taking out Moose and C3, however.
And Jaquizis. Oh no, 2v2 on this point, Reformed and Tony. We've seen them do it before. Will they be able to do it now? The Juno getting heavily pressured and Reformed takes her down. It's just this Junkrat on the point, but he's doing a lot of damage. The shield dance coming out from this Terp squad, and they will be able to take out the remaining members of Ohio State, but that doesn't mean that they're out of the woods yet. Tony popping the Gravitic Flux. King Donut dropping low is going to go down. And that's control going back over to the Terps.
That Gravitic Flux was particularly interesting because it wasn't even utilized for the damage, but to get Tony to that high ground to block line of sight from the Maga and keep himself alive just long enough to finally capture the point and get those necessary percentages.
Right, I think the cleanse from Ohio State from that Kiriko was supposed to block the damage, and as the point ticks up 99, ooh, touch is barely going to come out, but Moose getting the opening pick on Lau's Kiriko. C3 following up with a pick on Monk's Junkrat, and now it's King Donut on this Maga. We've seen him be so dominant on this game, just desperate for anything.
The beat coming in.
And the beat is going to spell the end for Ohio State. The second map on New Junk City going over to the Terps. 2-0 in this series.
They put up a much better fight on this map, I will say.
Yeah, much better fight.
And I do think a large part of that is because just New Junk City is much more open in many of these points, allowing them to counteract the little shield dances that are very commonplace with the Sigma, with the Symmetra.
Beautiful. Oh, was that a 4? Was that a 5-man? I believe that was a 5-man ultimate.
You rarely see
coming
that
out
with
from
Sigma.
Tony. That was absolutely huge. Oh my goodness gracious. And you know, as much as we want to talk about King Donut on that Maga, we still got to give props to Tony on the Sigma. I mean, that is what a play from him. I mean, just dominant ultimates. He keeps himself alive in these fights, which is honestly, when you think you have a Maga comp, the point is to bowl over the enemy team. The tank is going to be the first to die in most of these scenarios. So for Tony to be alive, it's like you're casting spells, my man. Like you're practicing witchcraft. How are you doing this?
It's those little shield dances. I don't know how. I feel like the Sigma shield lasted so long in some of these moments when, at least when I play Sigma, I feel like it's gone immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Tony was casting magic to keep them alive.
And I mean, part of it could be due to this Symmetra Photon Barrier ultimate that we saw pretty much almost every fight. I mean, Jaquizis is charging that like crazy, and it's also due to the fact that there's a Maga on the field and you can charge an ult off a Maga. So Ohio State, they tried something different. Did it work? No. But was it almost successful? Kinda.
It was more successful than the previous plan.
Exactly. So props to Ohio State for switching stuff up. Definitely shaping up to be a good match. I mean, this third map is match point. So we're gonna see the Terps hopefully take it home.
I'm wondering if we're going to see a third tank from each team, because so far we've gotten a new tank every game.
Yeah,
and
it's like a game of tic-tac-toe. So we got Ramatra counters Hazard, Sigma counters Maga,
which
question mark.
Yeah, not
question mark.
Tony counters King.
Tony counters Maga. That's what it is. Yeah, it's a Tony diff. Tony diff. But I do wonder what we're going to see. I mean, let's think. What can Ohio State do? If they want to play this fast, brawly sort of comp, I honestly think you need a Lucio. I mean, Lucio, the sound barriers gives you so much sustain in these fights. It gives you a good, strong defensive ultimate. Whereas Juno, it's good to engage in a fight, but what do you do if you get caught in a gravitic flux? What do you do if all your damage just gets blocked off by a Symmetra wall? What do you do?
Cry.
Nothing. You cry. You cry and then you complain to Jeff Kaplan about how broken this game is. But I think there needs to be a Lucio. Now, granted, I'm the same way. I don't like playing Lucio. I'm not the best Lucio out there. So maybe Ohio State is having the same conundrum, where you either put a character on a character they play a lot. You put a player on a character they play a lot, such as Juno, or you play Lucio, which they don't play as much, but it provides you that impactful ultimate. It's a trade-off. Which one is it?
I'm also wondering if we're going to see anything to counteract Jakeezus' Symmetra, because I feel like allowing him to get that charge consistently and just melt through the Maga and get his ultimate immediately is really not looking good for Ohio State. But how do you effectively counter a Symmetra without dooming yourself to every other member of Maryland's team?
I mean, the best way would be to take her out first, but I think Jakeezus is just playing so well, and honestly, he's playing a very flanky Symmetra.
Yes.
He's really utilizing this TP to poke at the back line and honestly make them panic a little bit. Because if you're going to get hit by one of those Symmetra orbs, it's a 3-shot kill. Now, granted, it's not a very surprising kill at all. Like, you have time to react to the orbs, but
that makes
it is
even
pressure.
More heartbreaking, because you're like, I could see that coming from a mile away.
Exactly. It just slaps you in the face and you look at your screen like, well, dang it. But going into this third map, into Scrim's Row. King's Row. Oh, how I've missed you.
It's such a classic map. I love. Again, we're seeing a new tank from Ohio State.
And from the Terps.
I was hoping for a D.Va. I really was.
D.Va down.
But we're also
D.Va
seeing no Symmetra from Jakeezus. We're seeing that Torbjorn.
Okay, Jakeezus using the Torbjorn. I mean, this is an interesting comp. Moose on that Ana. And the Reformed on that Lucio. I mean, this is like an old comp that you would see in probably the beginning days of Overwatch 2. I'm actually surprised that this is still a
time travel.
Yeah, this is still like a comp that you would even see.
Oh, I love that Torby
mode. Oh, the baby turrets. Aw, how cute. But Ohio State rolling out here.
Hazard has come back.
Hazard has come back. Not the Orisa. Kind of sad, but you know what? That's okay. Because Ohio State, they look comfortable on this Hazard. Looks like they have a game plan. Walking forward to pressure Tony. And it's going to work as he's going to be forced to back off. Oh! What a massive anti-aid from Aram on this Ana. And Ohio State are just going to... Oh my gosh, I wish we could get a replay on that nade. Where did it even go?
That was beautiful.
Where did you come from? Where did you go? Cotton Eye grenade. I mean, geez. And that's just going to be the first point over to Ohio State.
I'm wondering if that's going to be consistent throughout this match. And I personally have had history when commentating the Terps that they haven't brought a Kiriko out to counteract these antis. So I'm hoping that changes today if it becomes a problem.
I don't think you need a Kiriko if Ohio State is just going to sort of run forward and die. And the Terps, you know, as much as we can talk about the Terps' shortcomings, they do come back just as quick and take out the remaining members of Ohio State. And now control is back over to the Terps.
And he misses the turret.
He shoots and he misses.
Oh, poor short king.
He's trying his best, okay?
We need to get him some platform heals.
We really do. Torben, honestly, add that to the game next April Fools. Torben platform heals. Back to the game at hand. Nano Boost coming out from Tony, and he's going to dive into the backline, taking out Jin on this Kiriko. And although he's going to go down here, oh, the wall from the Hazard.
Pressing Q!
Oh, pressing Q. And it's not going to find anybody, but it is going to give the remake, and that's really all that matters, because now Tony's going to be able to retreat, and with the help of the defense matrix, he's going to make it out. Oh, what a dangerous fight coming up from UMD, and honestly, I'm loving the push and pull that I'm seeing here. Like, Terps just knowing when to go in, knowing when to retreat. However, Ohio State is going to have 5 ultimates on the board.
Oh, no. And are we going to see a Nano Blade, a Nano Sojourn ult, a Nano Hazard? There's a lot of scary potentialities here.
Yep. Hold on to your Luna Snow ult. Hold on to your defensive Invisible Woman ult, because out comes the Kiriko Rush from Jin. And Ohio State just walks forward, takes out Jaquizis, but not before Lau gets traded out by Tony. And although Tony's a little bit out of position here, the rest of his team is still alive, and he's going to eke out a survival.
Wow.
Oh, and Reformed is just... What is he doing to this backline?
He's having a party back there.
Speaking of what is he doing to this backline, Moose is getting stomped on by this Hazard.
We can hear Moose screaming for his life through the walls. This might prompt his retirement.
That might. Honestly, if I was getting chased through the sewers of King's Row in London, I would by a man with a weird augmented arm and hedgehog spikes on his back, I too would quit my day job.
Yeah.
This is not for me.
I feel like that was elder abuse almost.
That is true. But as we mentioned earlier, Ohio State having those 5 ultimates on the board, only utilizing 2, and still not really eking out an advantage in these fights.
So Maryland coming up with 3 ultimates to counteract their 3. So, we are seeing C3 pop that Sojourn ult.
C3 just pops the Sojourn ult, and down goes Aram on that Ana, and that's just gonna be a reset. And you know, Reforms used the beat there to counter the Genji Blade from Monk, and I think that's relatively worth it. And even though, oh, Lau, what's going on here?
He just had to get some revenge on Reform.
Yeah, just some. It was a stagger. Oh,
Yay!
oh, this is what we clip in the replay. Okay.
No, that's my favorite part of this entire game so far.
Can that be play of the game?
Yeah, can we play? Can we see it again
Yeah,
at some point down the line?
You can put that on the Twitter, right? Oh, thank you.
Yes. Oh,
yes,
it's beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. Back to the game in hand. Tony
Hokshu.
being given this nano boost once again, and Jaquizis is going to be able to take out this Genji, and the downpour from the Hazard is going to come out and find absolutely no one. And unfortunately, that nano boost is also going to go to waste. Now, Tony diving into the backline with this advantage, looking at the Ana. The Kiriko cleanse is going to come out and save her life, but that's space made on the side of the Terps, and now Ohio State is back to the drawing board. However, Jaquizis. Oh, the boop! Oh, the boop! Oh, what
beautiful
a boop!
Team play between Tony and Reform, getting that kill secured on a very vital player of Ohio State.
What a boop from Reformed. And you know, even though Ohio State is down a player, they are going to stomp back into this fight. And although they're looking for the Ana, they're not going to find her. And just before the cart reaches the checkpoint, Terps are finally going to stabilize after what feels like a minute of non-stop fighting. I say as they continue fighting.
It's really fun to watch, though. I'm having a really great time watching the team. It feels a lot more evenly matched than previous matches we've seen today. And this push and pull is really engaging. We're seeing both Sojourn.
Whoa. Sorry to cut you off, but the massive anti-nades. Ooh, it's just a game of anti-nades at this point. And C3 popping the overclock. And yeah, that's going to be it for Ohio State. Back to that same old drawing board.
This highly mobile team from the Terps is really just the bane of Ana's existence.
Oh, yeah. That's sort of the problem that you have with an Ana. You either have to position crazy well to not get run over by a brawl, or you just have to be so far back where you probably can't even heal your team.
So I think a key difference we're seeing here is that I've noticed Tony repeatedly going to help Moose out, where I don't know if Hazard is going to help his Ana out as much.
So the anti-nade is going to come out as well as the nano boost, and it's not going to find anything. But here comes Lau's overclock, looking to find Tony, who's jumping dangerously low, although he does have this self-destruct, but the only thing that's going to come out of it is a kill on the Torp turret. Beat comes out as well as the Molten Core from Jaquizis, and as Jin and Tony get traded out, the Dragon Blade comes out, and it's going to find 3 on the side of this fight. Overtime now for this Terp squad, and Jaquizis is the only one alive. Has to stall, looking for the 1v1 on this Ana.
I bet he wishes he was playing Symmetra right now, having that high mobility to get back to point immediately and prevent that cap, so his team could make it back.
Cut the cameras. Cut the cameras.
Jake he was rolling out so hard on previous matches.
I mean no offense when I say this to anybody, but I think the Torbjorn players just get lucky on cooldown. Like, I think that genuinely Torbjorn players don't aim, they just hit headshots.
We should roll that turret clip back.
Yeah, exactly. Lucky on cooldown. But Ohio State here, looking for something in this match, and Reformed getting splashed by the anti-nade, going to go down. And although the downpour comes out, finding relatively nobody, Ohio State is still halfway through this third point, and Terps are scrambling for an answer. Oh, and that's not going to be an answer either. C3 going down in this last fight, but the anti-nade coming out is going to get countered by the cleanse. Oh, and the dive comes in, the nano goes out on to Tony. He's going to get slept, and Moose is going to fall in the back line, getting countered by this Ohio State friendly nano. It's an absolute bloodbath in this last fight, and C3 getting pushed back towards the spawn. And Tony on this point desperately trying to stall, make space for his team. The Kiriko rush in Ohio State is going to be going to hopefully keep them in this fight, but there's so much going on, and the Hazard has not been at full HP this entire fight. But Reformed goes down. But the Molten Core is going to come out and
Jake's redemption arc coming through.
And that is going to be it for this round. What the heck?
That holding of the Diva ult was stressing me out. Though it worked out in the end.
It is true. I mean, you really got to give it to the supports on both sides of the playing field. Tony being alive for, I don't know, that man was literally invulnerable.
Hours.
And then the same thing with the Hazard, just getting heals pumped into him continuously and allowing him to just do really whatever the heck he wants. I mean, he's literally touching the spawn doors and no one's stopping him. So props to both supports, and thank goodness UMD held. But now we're going to see how they do on this attack.
They do still have to basically get all the way to third point.
Yeah.
So it's a rough spot to be in. I'm wondering if we're going to see a Diva swap out for that push.
Honestly, I don't think so, because I think Tony just looks so comfortable on this Diva.
We
Like,
are seeing a Widow from Jake's though.
are we though?
Apparently.
Actually, no. I think we are. They were talking about this. They were talking about this in pregame. I don't know what's gonna happen, but Moose is gonna throw out a flower, and I don't even know where the flower is gonna go.
I hope this is a beautiful cinematic moment. I'm really excited.
I'm really excited for this too. Jake's, look, you can make up for the Torp. Can we get a replay on the Torp play?
Yeah,
actually?
can we get the Torp turret? I wish I could like have that tattooed.
Oh.
He doesn't even know.
Yeah, exactly, Jake's. Cut the cameras.
Yeah.
But here we are. We are going to see Jake's on the Widow looking for this initial pick. And is that all she wrote? Oh. That's all she wrote. All right.
Doing functionally nothing with that, but that's okay.
Oh, a Pharah with a Life Weaver.
Huh.
Okay. Interesting, to say the least. At least the Terps are having a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah, we're having an experimental mode. They're not feeling the pressure. They've won 2 games.
Yeah, they're not really feeling any pressure. But speaking of feeling some pressure, Lau on the Symmetra went through the TP and nearly got booped away from it by Reform's Lucio. Oh. Bit of a sad TP as Tony takes control of the top left. And this looks like a merry-go-round strategy where the Terps take control of this high ground, and I don't think that's...
Ooh, there goes Ohio State. Anna.
Yeah, but down goes Reform on that Lucio, and honestly, you are going to take that trade because so long as Jake's doesn't die, you are going to take that trade because the Lucio gets back so much quicker than the Ana. And although Jake's is going to fall, C3 is going to answer back with a pick on the Lao Symmetra. Amazing sleep from Moose, and he already has this nano boost going forward with C3. He is just going to stomp forward, doing tons of damage with this Sojourn. Looking for the Sojourn. What a massive anti-nade from Moose. And now Terps are just looking at a relatively easy first point capture.
I don't think they're even going to go in for that touch. I lied. They're going in for that touch.
Yep, Hazard diving in for the touch, but he's just facing so much damage from all sides. The defense matrix blocking the heals, and Lau now just looking for anything, but he's not going to find...
His team is not there with him.
Oh, he's not going to find anything, and the photon barrier from Ohio State goes to waste, honestly.
He was trying to have a Jay Keys moment, and he couldn't quite get there.
You can't outdo the doer.
The turret Farah matchup is a bit rough for Jay Keys here.
The turret Farah matchup? Not even turret Torbjorn, just not even Farah Torbjorn. Farah turret.
I mean, have we seen the Torbjorn themselves do anything this match?
They've been doing some. I mean, we saw.
Can we get a turret? Can we get a turret?
No, we can't. We gotta watch this gameplay. Out comes the bomb.
Can we get turret on repeat?
It's gonna make space. The turret and the bomb are gonna make space.
Intimidation factor.
Exactly. Oh, but Moose. Oh no, Moose.
Oh
my gosh! Massive Farah barrage coming out from Jaquizis, but unfortunately it's not going to matter as 3 players from the side of UMD fall. However, it's a 2v2 here, and I think that Ohio State is going to back off this point. Wow. That goes in the Terps' favor. That's massive.
Wow. We are seeing an Ashe come out from Ohio State to counter that Farah. I think this is a good play. I can't say until we see results.
Look, Lau's been showing some pretty good moments, and you can see he's just keeping Jaquizis in check, just sort of peppering him down from afar. But you can't dodge C3's headshots, and he's going to take out Lau with the overclock. The Kiriko rush comes out, but Ohio State gets pushed out of it by the use of Reformed Sound Barrier, and now C3 is just in their back line.
Just slides past the poor Torb immediately to the Kiriko, not even giving them really a chance to react to that just torrent on their back line, and taking it up to third point with 4 minutes, or second point, with 4 minutes to spare.
And the replay on Jaquizis' ult was just so good. Just Ohio State maybe not even expecting that ult to come out. And now we're going to see actually 3 different swaps coming out from Ohio State. The Zarya swap on King Donut, Lau swapping onto that Widow, and Monk going back to the Genji that didn't really serve him well before. And let's see how this works, because Terps are stomping towards this goal. And here comes the nano boost on Tony, and down goes Jin, just getting absolutely one shot from that combo. And Tony, he's dropping low, but he has the bomb, and he's going to live. Just kidding, he's going to die.
No,
but the bomb.
He makes it.
And that's a team wipe on Ohio State, and there's no ultimates for them to use to get back into this fight.
That is not looking good for
This
them.
is last fight territory here. Their hopes for this series on the line, Ohio State. Something's got to give.
Are they committing to that Widow? They're committing to the Widow. I don't know if that's a great play. Because unless they're able to get those picks, but we're not seeing those picks come out from Lau.
There's so much pressure with both the DPS, C3 and Jaquizis hunting down the Widow and squashing that spider that found its way into your bathroom. And now Ohio State just getting cleaned up, and that is going to be a relatively clean 3-0 victory on the side of the Terps. Welcome back to the studio, y'all. I mean, that's just the pinnacle, isn't it?
I've never seen that intro.
Me neither. But you know, C3, I mean, we really got to applaud this man. This man went from playing Kiriko to, I believe, playing Baptiste and Ana at the same time. Then, I think there was a part where he played main support. So that's how I'm going to get cut off. Okay. Going from playing that main support role to flex support, now going to DPS. And, I mean, what a talented player. And honestly, what a showing coming out from UMD. You know,
I'm sorry.
Tonight's been a night. It's been a good night. We've seen the highs and lows of Torbjorn football. Can we roll the clip again?
Can we? I love.
Just one more time for the culture.
Please.
If not, then that's okay, because, you know.
For me. But.
I mean, what a dominant victory coming out from UMD. Oh, we are seeing it again. Oh, we're not seeing it again.
That's not what I wanted. It's okay.
It's okay.
I'm interested how dominant UMD was on that push, despite it being relatively equal when Ohio was pushing. I guess they're just a push team. They're meant to be in the back line.
One thing I will say is that the Terps do an amazing job of playing fast. There is never a moment where they are not looking for their next opportunity to just pounce on the enemy team. And it's that unexpected factor that makes them an amazing team. And then on top of that, they all play together well.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see one person dive in the back line. You see 3 at least most of the time. It's usually Tony, Jakizis, and Reformed on that Lucio. So, I mean, this is a well-oiled machine, and it's really working.
This match particularly, we are seeing a lot more team synergy, I think, and that's really appealing. I've seen previous games where we'll see a tracer go off in the back line, get picked off, and the entire team just kind of crumbles after that. But just the consistent, they're a protection dome. They're huddling around Tony, branching out into that back line when they need to as a unit, and that cooperation is like what Overwatch is all about.
Yep. It's a team game for a reason, y'all. You can blame your team as much as you want, but you do have to work with them eventually. Sorry. But as things come to an end, that's going to be a 3-0 victory from the Terps in the Big Ten Esports Conference. Now, unfortunately, this is the only Big Ten Esports Conference match we are going to be seeing on stream. And I believe our record was, I want to say it was 2-0. So good job, us. But we are likely going to be back with some NECC gameplay. And woohoo! Hopefully that'll be next Thursday. So if you're interested, tune into that. And if you have nothing else to say, I think this is going to be us signing off for the night.
I had a great time. I'm just happy I got to watch this.
I'm so happy to be back in the studio. This is my game. I'm excited. So once again, this has been Alex, aka Gumi, joined by
Mel.
And we will see you guys next time. Peace out.